What's good, y'all? Welcome back to Conversation Piece, your place to discover the hidden stories of Indianapolis and all of its wonderful people. My name is Patrick Armstrong. I am your host, and this is The Open Door, our monthly series where we literally open the door to the studio and sit down with members of the community to talk about whatever is on their hearts. If you are interested in learning more or participating in this series, head to conversationpiecepod.com and click on the open door on the top of the page. And last but not least, shout out to Life in Indy and the team over there for sponsoring this series. Without further ado, let's get into it. My guest today is Bryggs Krater. Bryggs, thank you for joining me.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
I'm super excited to have this conversation. For folks that are tuning in right now, listening, watching, and may not know who you are, do you mind sharing a little bit more about yourself?
Sure. Yeah. My name is Bryggs Krater. Pronouns are they, them. I am a community organizer with a group called Y'all. We're based in Indianapolis, but we care for the entire state of Indiana, and we work with the trans and gender diverse community, doing microgrants and different sort of events through our nonprofit.
I love it. I think I read y'all is considered, quote unquote, a mutual aid organization.
Yes, of sorts, yes.
I feel like that's what we're going to talk about today. To lead us into that conversation, I was wondering if you could define what mutual aid is, because I think that some people don't really fully understand the concept.
Sure, absolutely. And I would argue that maybe there isn't one singular definition for mutual aid. I'm sure that the dictionary has a nice clean-cut definition for us. I personally don't have one, though.
Okay.
I think mutual aid as a concept is what you have and what I don't have, you can share with me. And what I have and what you don't have, I can share with you. There's no exchange or need for money to be between those people. There's no need for anything that we consider in a more capitalistic idea.
Sure.
It's more community oriented.
Sure.
And mutual aid can look like a lot of things. For y'all, it does look like handing money out via our microgrants. But for some community groups, it looks like providing care kits for our neighbors who are experiencing homelessness. It looks like breakfast clubs for kids who don't get adequate access to food where they might be, and things like that. It can look like craft circles with your group of friends that you have. It can look like skill sharing and different ideas like that. So I would say that there isn't necessarily one way to do mutual aid.
Sure.
There are a lot of avenues, and everybody can participate in mutual aid.
I love it. There are infinite definitions, and the concept of it is community, essentially.
Absolutely.
Is like we are working together. There is no transaction to it. It's just like we all exist in the same space, and we're working together with our unique gifts to make our community better.
Exactly.
So how does y'all come about? When did y'all start? And like, how did that form? And like, what was the impetus for doing the specific work that you want to do?
So y'all was formed based off of a need that I had, actually, personally. Okay. I was out with a friend and we got carded, and my friend noticed that I did not have my name change legally done yet. My ID still showed my old name. After a little while, they asked if we could kind of chat about it. And I explained that I hadn't gone through the process yet because it costs a lot of money.
Sure.
It's wildly confusing. There's no clear-cut direction or explanation on how to do this. It takes a lot of organizing thoughts and documents and things like that. I had also undergone top surgery about a year before this conversation happened and was under about $4,000 worth of debt from that surgery, even though I had insurance. Still costs money because we live in the United States.
Right.
So based off of that conversation that we had, a little while afterwards, that same friend said, hey, I have an idea for a fundraiser. If you let me do this fundraiser, we'll raise the money and we'll see kind of what we can pay off for your bill. And hopefully after that, you feel more free to move forward in whatever you need to do next. I said, of course, that sounds great. So we started organizing this fundraiser. It's called Fill All My Bowls. It was organized between Sam Clark, Daniel Steck, Caitlin Krater, and myself. We put the first one together. And as we were organizing it and as we were gaining support from the community, we had a lot of other people come up to us and say, well, can you do this again for me? I have a need. I recently came out to myself. I need new clothing. I've had gender affirming surgery and need help paying that bill. Can you guys do this for me next time? And as these conversations kept happening, as community support kept building up, at some point we were all looking at each other and we just kind of joked and we were like, I think we need to start a nonprofit off of this to shelter the money, protect it, protect us, things like that. So in all of that, Y'all was founded. We still host Fill on My Bowls. It is a great event that we put on one time here in Indianapolis and then we move it around the state.
Okay.
You get a ceramic bowl, some soup, and time with community for $25.
Awesome.
Exactly.
That's an amazing program.
It really is. And I got to say, the bowls from the ceramicists are incredible. We get a wide variety of mugs and bowls and things, and it's really cool to see how creative people are.
Yeah.
And so we continue to do that. The money that we raise during the fundraiser goes into the microgrant.
Sure.
Folks can apply for the money from all over the state of Indiana, and we hand it out through different levels and tiers. And we've got a committee that helps us decide on things and all of that. So that's kind of where Y'all came from, kind of what we're doing right now, and where we kind of stand in 2025.
I think it's absolutely amazing because we talk a lot on the show. A lot of people come on here and talk about like the Midwest hospitality, Midwest niceness. Sure. And I think a lot of people have that perspective because they move here from somewhere else, they transplant here. And sometimes that doesn't always translate for people who grew up here.
Yeah.
And I think like when I hear your story and then hear y'all's story, it makes me think about that concept come alive a little bit. And then like actually being about what we claim to be about, but don't always actually emulate.
Yeah.
So I appreciate that your friend noticed that you had a need that you might not even have been aware of at the time. I was wondering if you don't mind sharing just like your initial thought when they approached you about having a tough conversation, because I feel like a lot of times it doesn't always go that way.
Absolutely. It definitely doesn't. And this is somebody in my life. We've built a really strong connection over time, a lot of trust and things like that. And the way that they approached the conversation disarmed me from needing to feel any sort of guilt or shame around them noticing that my ID had not been changed, any guilt or shame about having gone into medical debt for gender affirming care. I think that oftentimes for me, I felt a lot of shame. I made this decision to go into the debt. I brought my family into the debt. And because of that, I had to carry all of that. I had to make these payments. And I really appreciate how this person went about the communication with me, went about opening the door to the conversation, and how it was built from there.
Yeah.
It was still a lot of care. It was still a lot of kindness and respect and space for my own story to be told.
For sure.
When I felt like being able to tell it.
Yeah.
And, the first Fill on My Bowls, I didn't receive any of the money from it. I haven't received any of the money from y'all. The bill has been paid through the kindness of somebody in the community who wanted to look out for me and take care of everything. And I'm really grateful for that. And it's just another aspect of sometimes when you're able to open these conversations, it's very impactful.
100%.
The application, we've tried to make it as easy as possible, but people still have to come to us and say, I have a need I personally cannot meet. I need my community. I need another resource to come alongside me, to come behind me and help lift me up into support.
Well, and how difficult is it to ask for help for anything as people? Because we've been taught as a society to lead with like judgment and fear instead of affirmation. And what I love about how your friend approached this conversation was all of those things. And it just sounds to me like they were affirming you. Like you said, they were centering your story, not like, well, how can I be the savior for you? How can I best help you to make me best feel better?
Absolutely.
They were like, let me affirm you. And it's like, if we just affirmed people, we could really see like, oh, okay, we don't maybe have that many differences, or the differences that we do have make us that much better as a whole community.
Absolutely.
And then like you said, you did fill all your bowls. The first one was for you, didn't even need it.
Yeah.
But because you did that, it let you not only see that people will show up for you as an individual, it showed you that community was there, and there was a huge demand for stuff just like what you were seeking.
Yep.
Affirmation, but also support. How do people in a position now that you found yourself in then go about getting in touch with y'all to like get to the application, to start asking that question of like, I need help and I don't know where to start?
Sure. So first of all, they can go to our website. It's y'allforall.org. They're always welcome to go there. We've got an FAQ up, as well as the current application cycle is open right now. We do it based off of a quarterly rotation.
Okay.
So it closes and reopens every business quarter, so to speak.
Okay.
So every 3 months. So we've got that open right now. You can find it via our Instagram, which is also Y'all for All on Instagram. You can find it on our link tree there. And folks are always welcome to email us too if they have a question.
Okay.
And that's info@y'allforall.org. And if they have got a question, if they are thinking, oh, well, maybe you guys can't cover this, because of course there are things that we can and cannot do.
Yeah.
But more than likely we can work with you. And if we personally cannot fulfill the need, we might know another community resource who could help.
Sure. And I love that, because like that's another thing I think about from an organizational and institutional perspective here in the city, but everywhere, is just like, how are we talking to each other? And if like somebody comes to us and it's like, that's not the fit, but we are aware of another organization that might be a great fit for them, why are we not helping like shepherd them to that space?
No.
Like, why are we creating walls and barriers from communicating? Doesn't mean we have to do the same thing. Doesn't mean we even have to agree, but can we be mutually respecting of each other to where we can actually help the people that we are purportedly here to help?
Right.
So I think one of the reasons I'm grateful that you, and I feel very privileged that you filled the form out to come on here and talk about this, but also that y'all are just doing this work, is because right now, especially, but just in history, but especially right now, like trans folks and the LGBTQ community are just under fire, for lack of a better metaphor. And I think even sending an email or filling out a form right now can feel really scary, because who knows what billionaires' technology is spying and stealing all of our data when we type into something on the internet. So for the person out there right now who is feeling that fear and is hesitant to send that first message, to make that first ask, what advice or what would you share with them in this moment, and especially in this moment of like uncertainty and destabilization, like to hopefully provide a little bit of that stability going forward?
You know, there's not much we can do to safeguard messages on a Meta platform, or we use Gmail. So there's not much we can do about that. But the application sits on something called block survey. So the application itself sits on blockchain on the internet. So it's encrypted, things like that. It gets de-identified before it goes before the committee who votes and helps us approve funds and money and where it goes.
Yeah.
So we do our best to keep everybody as safe as we can. But when we're talking about safety at large right now, I think that it's hard to say doing this one thing will keep you safe. If you make a decision to come out of the closet as anything under the queer or LGBTQ community's umbrella, it's a danger to yourself. You're taking a little bit of a risk, and you can live in Marion County and take a little bit of a risk. You can live in one of the more rural counties of Indiana and be taking an even larger risk. And I can't say anything necessarily to put people at ease as much as I can say, when you are ready, when you do come forward, we are grateful that you have done that. We realize and recognize that it takes a lot for a person to do that. And all we can express is gratitude.
Yeah.
And that's how I feel when anybody comes forward, whether they need help through the microgrant or they come to the events that we host. We understand that it's putting yourself at a little bit of a risk coming to something that is a fundraiser for the trans and gender diverse community.
Yeah.
You have opened yourself up to a little bit of risk. And so what I can continue to say is that we're thankful that you're here. We're grateful that you have made the bold decision to step out and live as your authentic self. And if you're not ready to do that, we will still be here when you are. We still see you. We still recognize you as a valid community member. And we're here to lift you up and embolden you. And if right now is not the right time for you to step into that light, that's okay. It'll still be there. It might be a little bit carefully placed light, let's say.
For sure.
But it will still be there when you're ready.
Carefully placed, but the light is there.
It sure is.
The light's on and it's not going off, even if people try to obscure it.
Correct.
Beautifully said. Thank you so much for sharing those words. And I just want to touch on something that I meant to touch on before, but you mentioned like you don't just do programming here in Indy. Y'all do stuff across the state. I think it's super important. I grew up in a rural area and I knew folks from the queer community who were definitely afraid to be vocal and just to exist. And I think one of our biggest fallacies that we are currently navigating is the fact that people can't just be, and they have to be afraid because they are. And that should never happen. So let's fucking figure that shit out. Bryggs, thank you so much. I want to have you back for a longer conversation for sure. Before I let you go, you mentioned some places where people can find y'all and where they can support y'all's work. But can you let them know just again the places to go to find and support, where they can get to the application and how they might be able to follow you on social media as well?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. Best place to go for donating money to us for the application.
Lead with that donation for sure.
Absolutely, is our website, and that is y'allforall.org. If you're looking for social media connection, we are on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn at, again, Y'all for All. So that's definitely the best place to find us. And if you send a message, you're going to get either me or somebody else on the team working those emails and messages.
Okay, amazing. Bryggs, Y'all for All doing amazing work. Go y'allforall.org and support them because you're not just supporting a single organization or a single individual, you're supporting community and by and large supporting the greater Indianapolis and Indiana communities here as well. Thank you so much for coming through and for sharing. 100%. We're definitely going to have you back. Having all of these things linked in the show notes. And remember, go to conversationpeacepod.com for everything else Conversation Piece. Shout out to Life in Indy for sponsoring this series. And until next time, I have been Patrick Armstrong, and this has been The Open Door on Conversation Piece. We'll see y'all soon.